Picture this in a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger.
Picture this. Picture this.
Right, now before we begin, right, we should say that this show has received a number of complaints, and without fail, these letters have come from ordinary, down-to-earth, middle-ground, rank-and-file people of this country. So clearly there's been some sort of misunderstanding, because what we'd like to say to these people is, this programme is not for you. All right?
But you see, our audience is... Well, look, let me show you. You, sir, what's your job?
I'm a neurosurgeon.
You see, a neurosurgeon, 15 years old, a neurosurgeon. And you, madam, what do you do?
I'm a nuclear physicist.
Nuclear physicist. Not a good reader, nuclear physicist. Genius. Absolute genius. And you, sir?
I'm a male prostitute.
He works for MI5.
Well, sorry, I have to cut in here, Rob, because we're delighted to say that here, tonight, in the front row, is the conductor of the New York Philharmonic, Sir George Schulte. Sir George.
Etiquette is codes of behaviour designed by the ruling class to try and make everyone else feel inferior.
Mr. Andrew Spandlow has announced his resignation from the cabinet after a leaked memo showed that he had used the wrong fork at a dinner party. One of his outraged parliamentary colleagues said later, if only he'd stuck to humping his mistress.
One wonders, in fact, how far you have to go before these codes of etiquette break down.
We've got no food left.
There's no sign of civilization.
We've got no choice. We're going to have to eat Jeremy.
Disgusting, inhuman animals. We can't eat Jeremy.
We have to.
But he's red meat and we've only got white wine.
Food etiquette is always the worst. Like, for example, you are supposed to spoon soup away from you and not towards you. Now, why on earth would you want to push food away from your mouth? Unless it's a Pizzaland platter.
What is the point of a fish knife? Why is it better to eat fish with the thing like you buy at Texas Home Care to apply polyfiller with? This is the cutlery equivalent of Sarah Ferguson, popular with the upper classes and serving no useful purpose whatsoever.
Now, etiquette also demands that you buy a bottle when you go to a party. Now, obviously, you're going to go for the highest quality you can get. Happy Shopper Polish Liebfraumilch. Now, this is obviously not going to get opened at the party, enabling the host to keep it and use it to take to another party a couple of weeks later. There are, in fact, certain bottles of wine which get taken on an endless round of parties, never being opened until eventually it turns into a valuable vintage and you can flog it to Sotheby's.
Much etiquette is associated with royalty. For example, you're not allowed to turn your back on the Queen, presumably in case she nicks something. You have to walk away from the Queen backwards. This explains why all her sons are going bald. They keep smashing the backs of their heads against the door on the way out.
I've got no idea of the done thing at all. I never find out till later. It's like, what, you mean you don't do that? You don't tip your girlfriend?
The etiquette of clothing is very strong. People mark great moments in their lives by wearing clothes that they would never normally wear. Brides, for example, are forced to spend their wedding day wearing a full-length triangular dress and a veil. So they come down the aisle looking like a cross between a beekeeper and an albino Dalek.